Good morning. Thank you so much for, firstly, the organizers for inviting me, and for you guys for coming to spend the morning with me, as I suppose. Just to give you a bit of background, I was born in East London and I grew up in Khayelitsha. I studied, my first degree, I studied theatre and performance. And I remember with my theatre and performance later on, I traveled with a production to France. France was really nice and it was beautiful, I enjoyed it, but then this one day, I received a very disturbing message from my mother. It was my sister's report. She hadn't done well yet again. It was full of grade 1s and 2s. Grade 1 is 0 to 29%. Code 2 is 30 to 39%. When I saw this, my heart really sank. And it just really dragged me from France, figuratively, back into my reality of South Africa. Suddenly, my mind drifted to what she could become if she continued in that path. I thought of she could leave school before she finished matric. She could start drinking or taking drugs, or she could end up joining those girls and boys that stand in the corner and ask people for 2 rand. Do you have 2 rand for me? I really didn't want that for her. I wanted more for her. So I started thinking about solutions of how I could solve this problem for her. So I went to a tutoring organization in Khayelitsha that was 7 km away from our home, and I asked them if she could join. Unfortunately, they couldn't help me because they finished at 5 and she only came back from school at 5:30. After that didn't work out, I investigated paid tutoring. Paid tutoring prices range from 90 rand to 150. And for one subject, if she met twice a month, it came to like 7,200 rand over 10 months, just for one subject. My mother and I couldn't afford that. So I went to my husband and I asked him, I told him my findings. And I told him I don't know what to do. He said, why don't you come and stay with us in Rosebank? You know, we can help her. I thought about it, but I nodded. I said, yes, I think that's a good idea. But I didn't understand why we couldn't find help in Khayelitsha. Because afterwards there was my brother, cousins, still stuck in the same situation. So I got stuck in trying to solve it for quite a long time. Our tour ended in France around the end of November. I came back to South Africa. The following year, she had passed, but it was like passed in the South African way, 33%, the government benchmark. And I just knew that it wouldn't get her into university and it wouldn't allow her for a better future. So one day I decided, I had thought about it, and I sat down with my husband and I told him, I'm like, what if we started a homework support program where my sister and my friend and her friends could sit together and help each other, and maybe we could also find volunteer tutors who could help them. He said yes. I was so excited when he agreed. So what I did was I sent out a newspaper I sent out a letter to the newspaper asking for volunteer tutors in Kailicha. Afterwards, I had to find a venue, so I found a friend of mine who still stayed in Kailicha, and I asked her if we could use their garage, because they had a garage at home. For the volunteer tutors, we found about 12 people who agreed. They said yes. And once we started the program, people started opening their homes in Kailicha. So the street where my mother's house is was like our campus. So we had like maths in the one house, science in the next. We had like 3 homes we were working from. Is that one? I went back. Doesn't show. But basically just show where we started. We were working in people's lounges. And then we worked like that for about a month until we moved to the local library. And then at the library, I remember while we were there, the first time a learner walked in with their parent. And his name was Lulama. He walked hand in hand with his mother. His mom said he had failed grade 8 3 times, but he wasn't ready to give up. So Lulama joined and we worked with him. But as we worked with him, I realized that his English wasn't very well. So I asked a friend in observatory if she could help, because she ran an English school. So she assessed him and she realized that his English level was actually at a grade 4 level. But she agreed to help Lulama. So during the week after school, he went to her, and on Saturdays he came to us and we worked with him. And like a year after, Lulama's results increased and his self-confidence. It changed the person that he was. He just became a brighter person. He was also helping other kids when we were in the tutoring space. And then we also had learners like Sisonke. Sisonke says the first time when she came to the tutoring academy, she wasn't interested in what we were doing. So just coming in and out. And then eventually she got used to us and she liked us and she started bonding with us. And then she said, oh, I actually found, she said, I've never loved people outside of my family the way I loved you guys. And that was so touching that she had said that. It just made us realize that sometimes learners that come to the academy, they come and get more than academics. So we actually form a relationship with them, and they get mentors and they get role models. And that in turn helps them to succeed. So let me see if I can get back to my slides. So this is Lulama. We were here at an outing in Hout Bay, because we also do outing with the learners. And this is when we worked in Andisiwa's garage with the tutors. And so the way we work is that even though the learners, we have a group of about 20 learners in one site, the learners they get to work 1 to 6 with the tutors. But for some of these students in their real classrooms, this is what it looks like. They go up to 60. So imagine sitting in a classroom of 60 learners and you don't have self-confidence. You don't understand a question. You want to put up your hand, but you're scared. Imagine being a teacher in that classroom. How do you reach each learner so that they can work at their full potential? So for us, the tutoring program helped us to connect with the learners one-on-one, and what we want to do is to help them work at their highest potential, seeing them for who they are and where they are in their journeys, because they all have different journeys. So the people who helped us with the academy were, the first few people were people in our community. So we've got one tutor, Abongile, this one. When he started with us, he was still at university, and we were working in the people's lounges, and he used to come every Friday. And sometimes we'd have literally one learner, and Abongile would be there helping that learner every Friday. And one day we asked him, Abongile, do you keep on coming back? Because we thought, oh, at some point he'll probably lose steam, but he didn't. And we asked him, why do you come back? And he said, well, when I was at school, I didn't get this chance to get help from someone. So I would like to see these young people succeed. So that's why I keep on returning back. And we've been lucky, we've got some tutors that commit for like 1 to 3 years. So it allows the learners to see the same faces all the time. And in that way they can build relationships. I am proud to announce, so this is my sister, Yonela, and she was the reason that we started. So last year, she reached matric, yes. And she passed. She went from being an at-risk learner at her school to being at the top 6 learners of her school when she passed. Yeah, that was great. And she had won in her high school career, like she won 2 awards, so that was amazing. And in 2015, we partnered with the Royal Cape Yacht Club. And Yonela was one of the learners that was placed at the yacht club, and she really started enjoying going there. And suddenly she had dreams of that she wanted to travel the world. And what I liked at that moment is that the yacht club sort of helped her to focus, because she found something that she could have a bigger dream about, and sort of work towards that. So now she's in first year university, and next year she's going to be traveling on the Cape to Rio. Wow. Yeah, so that's really amazing. And yeah, basically we're like happy that she's going to be okay. But what's also happened with the academy is that we're able to help, since we've started, now we're supporting 100 learners over 2 sites in Khayelitsha. And as I look back and think about it, we didn't have lots of resources. I had my car. My husband had experience in teaching English in a foreign language, so he came on board with the English. I had organizing skills, and those are the skills that sort of helped me to put the program together and know which pieces to put together. And that's how I managed to gather people and enroll them to be part of the program. And yeah, after that, we were actually able to support 100 learners. Imagine that. Now, the Yonela, that's in grade 8. That's my sister when she was in grade 8. The one who was struggling with the schoolwork. Even though she's sort of on her way to a brighter path, there's so many of her out there. They live in the townships, in Khayelitsha, Gugulethu, Langa. Some of them are in the rural areas of Eastern Cape. They're walking miles and miles to get to their schools. Some of them are braving gang-infested areas in Manenberg, trying to get to school so that they can get a brighter future. Our education system is filled with so many challenges that require us as citizens to also be creative, engage, and contribute in how we can change the world. So I suppose today I'm saying that as creatives, what is it that we can do to still make it a better place for young people like my sister who struggle with their schoolwork? Because all they're chasing is a dignified life. What is it that we can do to make it better for them to connect to opportunities, to access places that they probably at the moment don't even dream of? How many of us here, how many other young people can we connect? Young people that are getting lost in our townships, in our Cape Flats. If I can do 100 with my network, I'm sure even if I challenge you to do one learner, we could create change together. Thank you.